he's ready. If not, I'm sure Senator Lummis would take.
I appreciate it. Thanks to the chair for hosting this hearing. And I think like a lot of my colleagues here, you know, I'm relatively new to the spectrum issue, and I'm just trying to understand everything. And, you know, obviously sort of one of the big debates in the spectrum question is sort of, well, you know, the DoD wants this mid-band spectrum. It's obviously very valuable, and you also have a lot of commercial users who want it too. And so I'm sort of mindful of Senator Cruz and Thune's efforts on this. But I maybe just want to ask each of you for kind of your perspective on this and how you think about the balancing of factors that we're thinking of. And you know, I'll just go down the line if I can, and you know, maybe try to answer relatively briefly because I'm just curious in everybody's sort of perspective on this. But like, you know, imagine you're a senator for a day, and you're trying to figure out how to balance the national security implications of mid-band spectrum with the commercial concerns. Like, how would you guys do it? And how do you think about sort of these trade-offs? That's a relatively open-ended question, but by design. So maybe we'll just start with, and I'm terrible, I'm going to butcher this name, but Dr. Fergat Roth.
That was very good, Senator.
Well, okay, great. It's the best thing I'll do all day.
I would. I think you hit the nail when you said balance, and I think there's a question of balance, and certainly want to take national security interests into want to take those and balance those against the incredible commercial value of the spectrum. And I'd like to see a study that kind of sort of goes maybe 25 megahertz by 25 megahertz by 25 megahertz and sort of say, if you took off 25 megahertz, how much would that cost DoD? If you took off 50 megahertz, how much would that cost DoD? And come up with some numbers and figure it out from there.
Okay, that's helpful. Ms. Brown?
Thank you for the question. I think we have to now start evaluating federal spectrum from three perspectives. One, could it be compressed? Could federal spectrum be compressed, or could those systems be cleared? Two, could they be shared with commercial users as we've done in CBRS, the very successful CBRS model? And three, should we consider putting unlicensed technologies in as an underlay, and could that be a successful model? Unless we have the information for all three, we can't make an informed decision.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Brown. Ms. Ghosh?
I think we should look at our needs, not in other countries. China is 4 times our population, and if they have more spectrum, it doesn't mean that we need more spectrum. We need to look at what our defense needs are, what our consumer needs are, and what our science needs are. We often forget that we need spectrum for things like weather satellites as well. And I agree with Mary's assessment. We should look at all options before we decide that one is the best.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Rinaldo?
I would say that none of us want to degrade the capabilities of our defense. I was at the House Intelligence Committee and I worked on these issues. I have a tremendous respect for what our armed services are doing. What we're discussing is there a possibility to move, and not only move, but to increase capabilities. And I think that's why it's so important to relook at how we incentivize the agencies. That could we give them increased technologies with funding from the Spectrum Relocation Fund. I also think we need to remove the personalities and the emotion from this conversation and have it be data-driven.
Just one quick follow-up on that. I mean, how much of the debate is a scientific debate about, you know, what happens when you move 25 megahertz this direction or that direction, and how much of this is we understand the scientific implications, we're just sort of having a turf war over interest from there? Maybe, Mr. Johnson, I'll give you that one.
Thank you, Senator. And I'll answer this. A former Army logistics officer. I've spent my entire career at the intersection of national security and commercial security.
Sure.
And I think in this case, it's the same. These interests are the same. And so I would borrow a lot of the ideas that have been said by my 4 fellow panelists, and just add that I would shift the whole posture. I actually don't think it's about trade-offs. I think it's about optimizing. And if we look at how do we make the best use of the available spectrum, that's a different discussion from who's taking from whom. If we do that the best in the world, which we can and we have, I think we can do it better. But this mix that Mary talked about and some of the advances that Harold and Monisha have discussed, we can lead the world, and it will benefit our defense systems, and it will benefit our commercial security, all of which benefits U.S. national security.
Sure. And I'm sure my staff and I will follow up just to try to better understand some of these answers in detail. But I appreciate your time and appreciate you being here today. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Vance. Senator Hickenlooper.